Well, there is one more decision to make. I guess it's just to give up, you know? Not anticlimactic, but sure, let's just give up. You know, why even bother? All paths just lead us to being murdered by anime girls. Let's just give up. So, you've come back here, have you? That does not come as much of a surprise. Though presented with 3 potential paths, it is not as though traversing any of them would have any particular impact upon your ultimate fate. In the end, you're always destined to return here. Did you really think you had a choice? How hopelessly naive of you. I thought you were smarter than that. Your breath, which once escaped your lips in sharp, ragged gasps, is now on the verge of petering out altogether. Your lungs feel deflated as though they have been punctured. Your blood is rushing through your temples in a heady, overwhelming surge. Your stomach, meanwhile, has twisted itself up into knots. Your body feels heavy. Your legs in particular, they no longer wish to obey you. You take a stumbling step forward as your foot gets caught in a tree root. You're certain that you passed this route once already and that you sidestepped it. But perhaps your memory is beginning to fail you, just like the rest of your body. You gasp, surprised, and pitch forwards, dull and senseless like a sack full of potatoes. Your arm hits the ground with a crack, one that makes you cry out in pain. Tears begin to bead in your eyes, wet and salty, tears which you cannot stymie. You're not as resilient as the gravedigger, nor as carefree as the princess. If you lived underwater like the mermaid, then nobody, at the very least, would be able to tell that you're crying, but you do not, and I can. Believe me, I can. Your arm aches dreadfully, but at least you can still feel it. Your poor feet, meanwhile, have gone quite numb. You would try to stand had you the energy, but you know as you sit there, dazed, that this would be a futile effort. You cannot stand, not any longer. It hurts too much. You really have been through a lot tonight, haven't you? I fear I have not been very kind to you. But you ought to be accustomed to hardship. Why then are you crying? You always have been a crybaby. That's why they tease you so much. It is because they knew they'd be guaranteed a reaction. You're very predictable. Even now, after you tried to borrow my power for your own purposes, you have not changed at all. As you sit there sobbing, you hear, or you think you can hear, footsteps approaching you. There to your right is a snapping of a twig. To your left, the telltale rustle of leaves. Your every sense feels razor sharp, honed to a nice point by anxiety. You're so panicked, you feel as though you're going to be sick. If you want to vomit, then why not? There's no shame in it. There's nobody here to judge you, nobody but me. I've always been here, you know. I will always be here, no matter how fast you try to run or how far. Did you really think you could escape me? Poor, sweet child. Poor little fool. I did tell you, did I not? A contract with a witch is binding. No amount of physical distance between the both of us could ever sever it. I told you I would never let you be lonely, and I meant it. But I have had rather enough of these little games. It is time for me to collect my collateral. Okay. It's the witch. The bone witch? A soft gasp escapes your throat as you feel arms wind their way about your back. Naturally, you know whose arms they are. They're mine. I've been watching you all night, but this is the first time I've reached out to you in so direct a manner. You're not expecting me to be so forward, to break the fourth wall. I can hear your heart fluttering in your chest. It is beating very quickly, like a startled rabbit's. Your breaths are short and sharp. It is a cold night, and though I'm holding you, you are still shaking. I wish you would not tremble so. Everybody fears the unknown, but we are not strangers. We have spoken before, have we not, when you first called me forth from the ether, using that book you found in the library. You are desperate enough then to turn to the occult for help. You pleaded with me to use my magic for your behalf. You begged me. You implored, and you entreated, and you wheedled, and you whined, and though I had some reservations, you forced my hand. I had no choice. Not in the face of your desperation. You do not want to be lonely anymore. You wanted to have a friend. Somebody who would always be there for you, no matter what. You wanted somebody to love you. Is that not what you demanded of me? Is that not what I have given you? You might think me wicked, but I think you're being awfully cruel yourself to run from me after I made all of your wishes come true. I did think, about punishing you for running away from me. I thought of poking your eyes out so that you might never see anybody other than me. I thought of cutting off your long, lovely hair so that nobody might ever think you beautiful but me. I thought of breaking your legs so that you might never be able to escape from me. I turned all these intriguing ideas over in my mind, but I am a merciful witch. Though you hurt me, I do not wish to hurt you. You asked, after all, that I love you, and that's what I did. I've drowned you in my love. I've buried you beneath my love. I've swallowed you with my love. You've always been a sad, lonely girl, one who's been starved of affection. Nobody has ever cared for you. Your life has been a barren, empty wasteland, one devoid of any fonder feelings. That is why I had to drown you, you see. That's why I had to bury you. It's why I had to swallow you. In the end, I was doing you a favor. I was doing it all for you. In that sense, you're very lucky. Do you know that? There are very few people in the world who have had the privilege of being loved to the brink of insanity quite this many times in one night. There are very few people in the world who can claim to have been loved by a witch. You experienced so much love, I ought to have been ought to have slaked even your unquenchable thirsts. You know now what it feels like to be adored. I've more than upheld my end of the bargain. Now I think it is time that you do the same. From this night forth, you and I will always be together. Then I shall be able to love you endlessly. You will never be lonely again. Alright, is that it? Is that the ending? Okay, I get it. So it's like, okay. So I think no matter what path you took, the mermaid, the gravekeeper, the princess, I've noticed that, that there's a bit of motif of them that gets kind of transferred to that witch you see. So using the mermaid had kind of like a pattern on her body. The gravekeeper had bones on her like clothes. The princess as well. I couldn't see exactly what she was wearing, or how that relates to the witch, but I'm assuming, again, they're all basically the same person. I'm thinking, I'm guessing that's what it is. I'm not sure exactly how it works. Maybe I'm taking things too literally, but I think her powers basically force her to, no matter where she goes, she's going to interact with a girl that is actually just the witch in disguise. That's what I'm assuming anyway. Maybe. But yeah, I think that's what it is. The witch is like very powerful. She can like bend reality and everything. That's why she breaks the fourth wall, and that's why she's, the representation of all of our romantic interests. No matter where we go, we always end up with a witch, and the witch is very like, I don't know. She's like so in love with the main character that she, ends up doing some quite twisted things to represent her love, I guess. And I don't know. She's just, the very representation of yandere, I guess. And they'll be together forever, That's the ending of the story, That's kind of like, I don't know, just ominous, and like, and sad for the main character. Like, it's not a happy ending, really. It's just a sad ending. But, But I guess that's the story, The narrator was the witch the entire time. And, she made a contract, and now she has to live with her choices. She already made a choice, It's funny how she says, like, how you made a bunch of bad decisions. I guess it's not really to the player, it's to the character, That she made that bad decision in the very beginning, even before we even started playing the game, really. So yeah, there you go. Any extras, by the way? Gallery. I guess that's just all the pictures that we saw before. I wonder, is this like a picture I can unlock, or is it not? I'm not sure if it is or not, you know? It looks like it's missing something, but maybe it's just an empty space. I have no idea. Because I feel like I played everything, right? Like, I did everything. Here's a note, I guess, by a developer. It's Ebi. Thank you for taking time to read this visual novel. Hope it was enjoyable. I'll leave a few notes. Oh, I don't know if I want to read all this. This is actually a lot, actually. I didn't realize it was a lot. I'll skim through it, you know. You can pause, you know, if you want to read that, actually. Or even download the game yourself, really. Just read through it. But, inspired by novels, basically. Fairy tales and folklores. It might seem unrelated. Okay, just talking about the inspirations of this game. And then they made the game, put it in the yandere, you know, visual novel jam. Multiple stories. Bring as a visual novel. They only had 2 routes in the beginning, but they made a 3rd route, the princess route, I guess. Which I actually do feel, yeah, the princess route, it was interesting. At least the ending, anyway. Inspired by Gray from Lord El Malloy's case files. Lol. I think Gray was she had an event, you know, in Fake Grand Order. Anyway, his narrator, character in his own right. The use of second-person narration was also inspired by Slay the Princess. I think I've heard about that. I never played it. And also, yeah, optimal conditions for a sacrifice, which is actually the artist, I think, for this game. What? Wait a minute. If you check the art gallery, isn't there a picture we're still alive? That's what I was wondering. I wonder why that could be. Maybe you could throw through the story again. You might find something that will surprise you. What do you mean, developer? It's not over yet? What do you mean? Okay, hold on. I guess that's a hint to like try to go through the game again. So, yeah, so as it turns out, there might be a little bit more, according to that little hint that I saw in the developer's notes. Let's see, what happens if I just start a new game? You're running through a forest. But this shouldn't come as a surprise to you. You've been here before, haven't you? It is beginning to feel like you've been running for a long time. But the sun, despite the overwhelming weariness which assails your legs, has yet to rise. Why, I wonder, could that be? You're sure as you run that you've seen this all already. You've seen the fractal pattern of the moon's milky glow as it spills on an uneven forest floor, and the trees which jut out of the earth like eerie monuments to a foreign god. You've seen wicked brambles, which sought to ensnare you, and I might add succeeded, and tree roots, hooked like the choppy fingers of witches far older than I, which sought to trip you. You have cut your feet, you have torn your skirt, you have taken numerous paths, yet they all ended in failure. Once you had hope, now it is gone. You have already given it to me, so why are you still running? Silly girl. Did you really think you could escape from me? After all I have subjected to you already. There's no use trying to escape from my embrace. And if I may be so bold, I'm hurt that you could even attempt it. Were you not happy with me? I was happy with you. But no matter. You are a stubborn little chit. I want to say, I know it's not this, but like, I want to say you are a stubborn little shit. You know, that's obviously not what she's saying, but it's just funny to me. You just changed the C to an S anyway. And perhaps you think that things will be different this time around. That is why you began to run. I can see, despite the fear in your eyes, that your resolve has not burnt out. Not just yet. A spark of it still remains, a spark that I mean to extinguish for good. It is pointless, you know, trying to escape from a witch's curse in the forests of Phantasmagoria, instructed from my own powers. I am a creator goddess, Mother Earth, if you will. It does not matter how quickly you run. trampling the tall grass and the loose leaves and ugly spotted mushrooms underfoot. I still have you right where I want you, in the palm of my hand. I will not let you get away that easily. Oh, very well. If you insist on playing this little game, then I will indulge you. I will play along. We can do this all over again. Now, where were we? Oh yes. You're still running through a forest. It's late at night and the sky is as black as pitch. There's nothing to light your way save for the moon's milky glow, but its rays cannot reach you, not properly. The trees which surround you, jutting out of the earth like eerie monuments to a foreign god, are blotting out most of the light. You cannot see where you're going. Even if you commence your flight at a more sensible hour, though, the light of the sun to aid you will be of little use. You do not know where you're going. Okay, this seems to be the same as the, very beginning. You have no map, no route, no plan. You're running like a frightened animal, anxious and nervy, with no destination in mind, none beyond the most overwhelming impetus to escape. You cannot let yourself be caught, though it's too late for that, I suppose. You have no choice, therefore, to keep on going, on and on and on, though your feet are screaming at you for mercy. You run and you run and you run until long last you reach a fork in the road. There are 3 paths which split off through the forest. Or 4, if you count down the path down which you came. You cannot exactly double back on yourself, though, why would you? You've put all that effort, after all, into running forwards. Not just once, but twice. I doubt you mean to confront me. How can you, when you're so very afraid? I can hear your teeth chattering, you know. I can see your legs trembling. Your fear rolls off you in waves, more potent than any perfume. Your anxiety is truly staggering. It is a wonder, really, how you're able to keep putting one foot in front of the other. You keep putting your feet in front of the other, though, no matter which decision you make. You will not turn back. How could you? You're far too cowardly. Now, the 3 paths are signposts, as well you know, which would be a strange sight given you're so deep in the forest. But you ought to be used to strange sights by now. It is dark, but that does not matter. You've seen the signposts before, and you know full well where each path will lead you. I would say that your fate is in your hands, but you and I both know that is incorrect. Your fate has always been mine to manipulate. You fate? Your fate. Must we really go through this rigmarole again? You won't discover anything new, you know. You won't find any extra secrets or Easter eggs, you know. The mermaid, the gravedigger, and the princess will not deviate from the scripts which have already been prepared for them. I did not, in all honesty, think to furnish any further responses for them. You know, I didn't think of adding more dialogue for these characters. I did not think you'd be seeing them again. But no matter. If this is what you want, I should provide it for you. Go ahead. Throw your life away, again and again and again. Be drowned by love. Be buried by love. Be consumed by love. Then, when you have had enough and you can no longer stand, submit yourself once again to my embrace, and let yourself experience the love as precious few humans have ever before had the misfortune of experiencing. Alright, well, let's go to the shore again. Let's go meet Miss Mermaid again, I guess. So you want to go to the shore? Good idea. Okay, let me see if we can skip maybe. This is so long. Fight against your fate. Still wish to soldier on, do you? That is remarkable, given this is the second time you've been pulled beneath the ocean's surface. You know, we just choose to do this again, by the way. We just love drowning. I would have thought you would give up by now. But no matter. You really are stubborn. I cannot promise a better fate than this awaits you regardless of what you might choose, but I'm willing to indulge you. Let's go back to the beginning once again. Your fate is in your hands, at least. That is what you once thought. You and I both know, however, this was never the case. Not now that you belong to me. How much longer can you keep resisting, though? I cannot wait to find out. Okay, so another variation of the characters. It would be interesting, if we did explore those other routes and something different did happen, but I guess not. Go to the village this time. So, you want to go to the village? Good idea. Skip, buddy, skip. Look at this girl. She's a grave digger. And I think, the voice I was going to give her, and not that I do very good voice acting, especially if it's just literally all girls, but I was going to give her more like a depressing voice, because she's like a grave digger and all that. Like, you'd be like I don't know, like a goth girl, basically. You'd be like, it's like this, I'm so mysterious. I'm gonna sound very depressed and stuff, but actually she was the opposite, as it turns out, so that was a surprise. Anyway, and therefore I fight against my fear, rather. I punch through the, the ground. I sure you can. No, guess not. Alright, well, my, this is certainly unexpected. I rather thought after everything you've been subjected to, you no longer wish to continue this farce. I was fully prepared for you to forfeit yourself at long last to my loving embrace. I'm ready to embrace you should you so desire it, and create you within my unassailable affection. But it seems you're not ready to submit. Not quite yet. Being buried alive twice over has not been enough to diminish your determination. You still wish to fight against me, as if you had to have any hope of succeeding. Your efforts are all futile. Do you not know that? I am far, far stronger than a skinny human like yourself could ever even begin to contemplate. You would be better served if you gave in. But perhaps I have not loved you effusively enough. Not just yet. If you're to learn anything, I must first beat into your thick skull of yours. Will you listen to me then? I only want what's best for you, That's what abusers always say. Hurting you hurts me too. But if that's what you want, so be it. Let us go back to the beginning once again. Your fate is in your hands, at least that's what I think. You and I both know, however, that this was never the case. You still belong to me, will never let you forget that. Now continue the struggle. Do your very best. It will not work, but it should be entertaining if nothing else. And let's go back to the castle. Let's just get served up as dinner. I wonder what's for dinner. Oh boy, I'm so hungry. I could eat a main character in a visual novel. Eat her alive even as she screams. Hilarious. And then num num num. Nummity num num num. Num 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 num. Alright, fight against your fate again. Oh, you wish to keep going, do you? Is this just like a fetish? You just like being bored? That's impressive given this is the second time you've been devoured so heartedly. Of all the demises you've experienced, this one is the most gruesome. If you had tired of these repetitions, I would understand. I am not the wicked witch you might think I am, and I would be willing to show you mercy should you want it. But I can tell you that you do not want it. Goodness me, you are stubborn. Why, I ask you, do you continue the fight? There's no escape for you, this will continue to be the same repetitive dialogue over and over, and as you click on the skip button. I will never let you leave, no matter how you struggle. But very well. Let's go back to the beginning once again. Your fate is in your hands, or so I once told you. You ought to know now, however, this was never truly the case. You still belong to me. I'm not going to let you get away from me, not that easily. You can struggle as much as you want, but it will be in vain. It does not matter where you go. I will always find you. I can promise you that much. Okay, and thus we went through the game once again. Basically like New Game Plus. Wasn't much change really. There's a little bit of difference in dialogue from the witch, but mostly the same routes really. However, once we went through all the paths again, we have this choice. Give up? This time with a question mark? I guess we'll see what happens. Maybe we give up, maybe we don't. How about that? There, you see? Are you happy now? I told you there's no use in repeating this night, yet you failed to listen. You've been drowned, buried, and consumed once more, and for what? Do you feel as though you have made any progress in your attempts to escape from me? By speedrunning this, visual novel once again. Once again, you find yourself as you were at the end of your last foray into the forest full of nightmares. You're kneeling upon the ground, your feet aching, perhaps they're bleeding, and your skirt tattered and torn. You try to inhale, but it hurts. It feels as though your lungs have been punctured by a pair of embroidery scissors. When you swallow, you can taste salt upon your tongue. You blink, but it is so very dark in these woods you fear you cannot see. There is a heavy, leaden weight upon your shoulders. It feels as though somebody is shoveling soul upon you. Your body is cold, as though it's been sapped of all warmth. Your blood, which ought to flow through your veins, feels as though it's been frozen. That, or has been purged from your body altogether in rust-red gobbets. Have you had enough of this now, silly thing? I'm saying this for your sake, you know, just as much as I am mine. Though I might have trapped you hence, I did it only because I care for you. I want only for you to realize the folly of your ways. Now cease your foolish attempts to escape. They will accomplish nothing, save stretching your mind beyond its limitations. It has already, I fear, been stretched thin already. Humans are not designed to die, not as incessantly as you have. One death will be enough to finish most of your kind off, yet you have endured 6 of them. You've doubled them at this point. You do not want to go through that again, do you? Then do not run from me. Let me console you. Let me embrace you. Let me love you. What do you say to that? Dugga. Caca your tongue, Well, no matter. You will not need your tongue to speak while we're together. It is an unnecessary appendage, however much you might wish one day to whisper sweet nothings to me. I'm an all-powerful witch, after all, and I can hear all of your thoughts. I know what you're thinking. Dugga. Yes, that's right. Silence is golden, as they say. You do not need to speak. You do not need to blink. You do not even need to breathe. Now that you're finally mine, I will cut off your tongue and I'll pluck out your pretty little eyes and I will... Dugga. Kotoaru. I beg your pardon. What was that, dear one? I said no. This is unconsensual, you know? No means no, okay? I am not your dear one. I never wanted this. What? You would defy me still after all you have endured? Were 6 deaths not enough for you, you gluttonous girl? Do you wish for more? I just wish for a friend. I didn't want to be lonely. But you ensnared me. You tricked me. Why, never. What bold accusations. They're not true, though, you know. They are bald-faced lies. I did nothing of the sort. My name might begin in a similar fashion, but I am no... Mephistopheles, right? Mephistopheles? Mephistopheles? I was very upfront when we first met. I said if you wished to make a contract with me, it would cost you. It is your own fault that you did not listen. You accepted my terms and now you're paying the price. Now if you'll come with me, my dear. I'm not your dear. Be gone, thought. Really now, this has all become rather tiresome. I must insist that you cease this childish outburst at once, or else... Or else what? Will you cut off my tongue? Will you pluck out my eyes? You already stole my name. But it's coming back to me. What? No. That shouldn't be possible. You gave your name to me. You gave your soul to me. You pledged your heart and your body to me, and now... And now I want them back. I want a refund. I'm tired of these games, too. Medea? Oh, Medea. Okay, that's interesting. You remember my name. I do now. You're called Medea, and I... No, stop it. I'm called Rosette. It can't be. I knew you were stubborn, but... I learned how to be stubborn. I'm used to being bullied. You're just like the others. I'm not afraid of you anymore. You took everything from me. And now I'm taking it back. No, you can't. Rosette, please. Don't go, don't leave me. We made a contract, you and I. You know, you have to participate in the Holy Grail War now, you know? There's a command seal on your hand. You made a contract. You said that you wanted a friend, and I promised to be that friend. I promised I'd always be there for you. Do you really mean to abandon me? That was the general idea. And what of me? What am I supposed to do? You? You can rot for all I care. What? No, Rosette. I call after your retreating back, but you do not heed my words. You do not turn your head. Once it was you who knelt in the dirt, your clothes tattered and torn, your dignity alongside it. You were so vulnerable then, and you were so very, very beautiful. In a perverse way, however, I think you might look even more beautiful now that you're walking away from me. That's the thing you humans say, is it not? You never realize just how much you value something until you no longer have it. It is not how true in my case, however. I knew you were a precious find when first you summoned me. With like, summon tickets and like, thank courts. No, anyway. Your fiery determination, even in the face of extreme hardship, endeared you to me. I thought you very noble, really. How you had survived for so long in an environment which was so very hostile. For a human, I thought you remarkable. That's why I decided to form a contract with you. I thought with a human like you by my side, my own life of empty, endless wandering might not be so lonely. Goodness me, I must be growing sentimental in my old age. Now, you are not the one upon the ground, it is I. I could keep calling for you, but I know it won't do no good, or I know it would do no good. You'll not turn back from me now, not when I've caused you so much suffering. I don't mean to hurt you so, though. I truly did love you, albeit in my own way. In the end, however, I suppose the love of a witch was too much even for you to endure. Now there's nothing but the milky moonlight and the trees which shuttle the earth about me. They look like monuments, built in honor of a foreign god. They look like nothing from the world that you knew, Rosette, because they are not of your world. They are of mine. Now that you've fled from me, like a bird let loose from its cage, I fear we'll never see you again. I will be on my own, in this forest, for all of eternity. Or until another silly girl, with stars in her eyes and dreams in her heart, summons me once more. It's happened a handful of times in the past. It might one day happen again. Until that day, however, I will lie here among the foliage and the fog, and I will close my eyes. I will let myself dream. And enrobed in an undulating mist, I shall think to myself, it gets so lonely here. Okay, there you go. So that's the true ending. Apparently it's happened a few times already, but is it every time? Does she get, it's funny, like does she get rejected every single time, you know? Like they break up every single time? You know? Maybe she should change her like, I don't know, her methods? Like subjecting, you know, the girls that she makes contracts with, like, could you like not subject them to like deaths, you know? Maybe? I don't know, I guess. Should never change. But there you go. Okay, so that's how it actually ends. I mean, I don't know exactly how that works. You could just simply say no. You know, it could be like, no, and then leave. You know, it's like you could just do that. I guess you could just do that. You know, I don't know, whatever. It's just hand waved away. I guess it's not supposed to be all that important. You know, the specifics. But I guess, you know, simply just reject witch. You know, how do you, what's the meme, like ignore women or like reject women? I guess we reject witch. Reject witch, acquire currency. There you go. That's it, I think. Double check the gallery. So that's what I was wondering. You know, what was this missing little image here? It was just her, the main character, Rosette, saying no. No. And the extra here. Oh, is this new? Oh, this is new. Okay, this is Ebi again. Now for the second part of the notes. Okay, Okay, it's entirely possible you missed the first. I didn't actually, though I did skim through it. Any case, it intended to be more of a story. To end the story after the witch Medea ensnares the spare Rosette in her grasp. I thought it'd be cool to do a new game plus. Then there are other visual novels. They did that. So to give them the narrative satisfying, get better second-person narrator. Initially thought making the confrontation between Rosette and Medea more humorous and like snapping, you know. Okay. No, I actually thought that it would kind of go that way. Actually, I actually thought that maybe the main character, like after dying over and over and over again, would actually go a little bit insane and become maybe just like one of the characters that she meets, like the mermaid, the princess, and the gravedigger or whatever. She would become one of those people, and then the cycle would continue or something like that. But I guess not. It still remains, however, even though confrontation is more serious, Rosette still cosmetic for being horrible. Then the confrontation, Medea's, the witch from Greek mythology. Okay, I'm kind of like skimming most of this though. Yes, Fey Grand Order. Yes, of course, I did mention that too. It literally is by Fey Grand Order. That is okay. So it's kind of like the dialogue options in Fey Grand Order too. But yeah, it's true. Like most of the choices in the Fey Grand Order missions or whatever, the stories, like there's not really any real choices. So hello. Pizza and pastas. Also, is there another message there? I don't know. I'm not sure if there was another. No more Dark Souls? I don't know what you mean by that. I mean, I did play Dark Souls like a lot. Well, I mean, I play a lot of Dark Souls games in general, off screen before. I played Dark Souls 1 a while back. I played Elden Ring most recently, I guess. And 100 episodes put on YouTube has, very little views because who would have watched 100 episodes of Elden Ring, to be honest? And it's true. Anyway, I don't know what you mean by that. What do you mean by that? Pizza and pastas? I no more Dark Souls. Am I reading? Oh yeah. Fey Grand Order. Doesn't have any dialogue, so groundbreaking. It was fun to implement. Yeah. I remember actually the ending of the first, I guess, season of Fey Grand Order was pretty cool actually, in terms of the finale. Even though the story is pretty like linear and like there's no real choices, but Mermaid, Gravedigger, and Princess did not get names, however. Yeah, these guys are fabrications created by Medea. Or maybe... Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, so by the way, so the world of Medea, well, in Fate terms, is kind of like a reality marble, So basically it's like her world, and yeah, the people who existed in the visual novel, I guess were not real, they're just like manifestations of Medea. Or of the witch itself. I don't know how much of the whole plague thing, I guess it was just made up. It's not real. Higurashi vibes as well. Satoko and Rika. Burn Casto Lambata. I think that's from Umineko. Anyway. Okay. Again, I'm just kind of skimming. I don't have to read all of this, but okay, that's interesting. And now, if you're at all worried about Medea, who's been left on the woods, you can go and check back up on her. You want her to be lonely now, would you? Doing that will reset all your data, though, so don't go making contracts with witches willy-nilly. Your actions do have consequences. Okay, so I think that implies if you could start a new game once again, it'll just reset everything, and it'll be as if, the idea, like, lore-wise, it's like another girl who's made a contract for her and everything, and the whole thing repeats itself, I guess that's the idea. Okay. I'm sitting in the forest. It is late at night and the sky is as black as pitch. There's nothing to light my way save the moon's milky glow, but its rays cannot reach me, not properly. Trees which surround me, jutting out of the earth like eerie monuments to a foreign god, are blotting out most of the light. If I were running, I would not be able to see where I was going. but such concerns are trivial to me. There's nowhere, after all, for me to run to. I am all alone. You have abandoned me. You made a contract with me once, when you wished for a friend. It was a contract I swore I would fulfill upon my good name. But you betrayed me. Oh, Rosette, why'd you have to go? My days were intolerably dull and tedious without you to amuse me. Your company slaked my boredom nicely, but now that you've gone, that boredom has returned fourfold. You're so consuming. I fear I might go mad from it. Have I not, granted, gone mad already? If only there was another mortal out there, one who might keep me company. If only. Oh, perhaps I spoke too soon. It would seem that another has intruded upon my moonlit solitude after all, far more quickly than I was expecting. How very fortuitous. Or fortuitous? Well met, stranger. Does the moon not look beautiful tonight? Why, it is almost as if our encounter was preordained by a being far greater than both of us. But that, of course, is a foolish thought. There are few beings out there more powerful than myself. Now then, would you care to create a contract with me and relive the events of this night anew? Okay. Daga kotoru. Oh? Do you not wish to stay with me, dear one? Very well. You're awfully cruel, but I can understand how you feel. I am a benevolent witch, regardless of what people might say. I will never force you to do anything that against your will. My love is, and always has been, reciprocal in nature. Though she did not appreciate that. Now, if that is all, would you like to run along? No good can come, of soliciting with witches in the dead of night. You'd best be on your way, and quickly. Otherwise, I might just change my mind. After all. It gets so lonely here, okay. So again, it's just a little extra little scene, as the authors, developer said, I think it's just a way, it's a fancy way of saying, do you want to restart everything again? Do you want to erase the global memory and everything? Oh, you're still here? I thought I already sent you on your way. You certainly are a stubborn child, that or you're a very cruel one. You take delight in my sufferings as you are. And don't just stand there. If there's something you wish to tell me, I would bid you that you tell it. Have you reconsidered my earlier offer? Okay, sure. This won't actually... I imagine all this does is just restart the game, but sure, why not? Very good. Now come to me, dear one. You are lonely too, I can tell. The scent of loneliness positively rolls off of you, much like mist in the early morning. Oh, come, do not look so surprised. It was not at all a difficult guess. Why else would you be spending time with me? Had you anything better to do with your time? You're all lonely here. In that sense, we might not be so dissimilar, you and I. Though I might be a witch and you a human, I'm no stranger to the complicated emotions of your kind. I was a human myself once upon a time. That was a very, very long time ago. So come to me and I shall tell you a story. I will tell you a story of a girl running through the forest without ceasing. A girl entrapped in a patchwork fairy tale world of no beginning and no end. My story will unravel, unbroken from now until the end of time. If you allow yourself to be submerged within it, we need never be lonely again. Well, there you go. I think that's it of this game. But yeah. So, I kind of already gave most of my thoughts after the first fake out ending, I guess. But yeah, that's basically the story. And I guess just to talk about the game itself as like how I feel about it. The art is good. The character art definitely I do like from mostly Nasai. It's very, I don't know, it's just very good. I like it. The stock images aren't bad as well. Just stock images, but they kind of fits and everything. The UI is good. Music is good too. And yeah, and the writing and the general story, I'm talking about the writing, the general story is actually pretty interesting. And I do like the idea, how it wraps up all together. It turns out, it was all just her being trapped by a witch and everything. And she goes through these different deaths. I do like morbid themes as a thing. So I do like the whole, psychological horror aspect. Though it wasn't. I feel like it wasn't as visualized. It was mostly just described. The most. I don't want to say the biggest culprit. I don't know. It's not culprit, but I think the biggest dissonance, as mentioned already, was the skeletons. The skeletons, just a bunch of skeletons hanging there. But really, the way it was described was actually much more brutal than that. Much more gruesome. We don't see that though. But anyway. But yeah, I mean, for me though, I gotta say, even though the story was interesting, again, very subjective, but the writing I feel like definitely is written more like a novel, like a straight up novel, which is funny because this is a visual novel. But when I think of visual novel, I think of like older ones, like classic ones where like they're basically anime. They're written like anime or like manga dialogue. It's like meant for like a younger demographic. And it's like meant to be easy to read, much more dialogue, much more conversational, and I guess not as much flowery language, as this one. But I guess those visual novels work too. Now I think about it, I mean, I guess it depends because a lot of the games are like the classic Japanese visual novels that translated to English. That could also be because when people localize it, it might not carry the same sense of like language that people used or the writer used in Japanese. Maybe that's why, because a lot of the visual novels you read that have been translated from overseas, might be conversational only because people who translated uses that kind of tone. Maybe, possibly, I'm not sure myself. But anyway, because most of the visual novels I read, especially because I'm just a weeb, I guess, this freaking uncultured, like degenerate weeb, I just like prefer, much more simple dialogue, right? Like a manga, right? As I mentioned before, like manga dialogue, basically, stuff like that. So that's what I think of when I think of visual novels. But so this one was a little bit, for me anyway, a little drawn out, much more flowery, much more poetic, much more like a actual real traditional book, So you're basically reading a book, to be honest, which is funny. So that's what people say for like visual novels, But I don't know. That's not usually what I'm looking for, actually. When I like visual novels, I actually prefer simpler dialogue. I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing for me. But I like dialogue and like flavor text in like a video game, and like when you just take that part of like a video game and put it together like a visual novel, that's what I want, basically, And I mean, for a lot of people, I imagine it's like, again, kind of uncultured, it's like it's not real literature, like video game dialogue and like flavor text, and stuff like that. But like to me, I like it, and that's what I like out of like a story. I don't know. It's just easier to read for me, and much more natural, and it flows just better for me. But this one definitely is more like an actual like book. Which, again, the only books I read is manga, so like rarely do I actually read like actual books. So yeah, that's for me. That's the most subjective thing about this, I would say. And I might be the minority, really. A lot of people might like this, actually, because it's actually more like a book, But I'm the opposite. I'm like, it's a little bit too much, a little bit too drawn out, especially in the beginning, There's a lot of build up and like a lot of these old cutesy little scenes of her like bonding with the one of the characters, in the past and everything. But it takes a little bit too long. I don't know. It takes a little bit too long to like get there. It's like, a little bit too much on like, and thus she runs through the forest and her feet hurt. And look at the moon, and then they describe, the sky and the night is so dark, and like, look at this this dress, it's so red, and blah blah blah, It's like, I don't know. That's not to say using this kind of poetic, flowery language is a bad thing. I prefer it when it's more, focused. It's much more like only used in certain like parts to emphasize certain things that. I guess contrasts or something like that. Contrast with the rest of the dialogue, and also like make it more impactful. And I guess the way I'm trying to say is like I don't know how to say it, but like and when you do that, when you only use it sparingly, is what I'm trying to say. You can use it to emphasize certain themes that the story is going for. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. I mean, this is very similar to my same criticism. Not really criticism. It's more like again, very subjective, thought I had with developers' other game, actually, Girlfriend Simulator, which I played, which I really like too, actually. I really like that one. That one also had kind of like a yandere-ish kind of story to it as well. That was really good, actually. But it also had a similar thing where like it uses a lot of poetic and flowery language. I would say not as much as this one though. This one went really full. They went like 100% on that. I imagine a lot of developers' visual novels are kind of similar as well. I haven't played all of them. I only played the ones that seem interesting to me, which usually involves the yandere. But anyway, but they made other like visual novels. I think a lot of them are much more like romance focused, so it makes sense. But yeah, for me though, like using flower language all the time, however, it's not as interesting to me, But anyway, the reason why is because it makes it feel a little bit drawn out at times, Like I'm thinking like, what's the reason for using these big words, Like, what's the reason for like describing this thing in so much detail when it really doesn't really, help us understand anything about the story, right? However, I do gotta say though, near the end, I do like the endings though. The little bad endings you get basically dying to these characters, is when it is actually appropriate to really use that flower language, right? So I did like the endings, when it gets like to that part. I mean, it's twist that's like very obvious, but when it gets to that part, I do like it, when the corpses are being described, you're being eaten alive, or like you're drowning, your lungs are bursting, stuff like that. That's cool. I like that because it makes you immerse in the story and emphasizes, the danger the main character is in, and stuff like that. I like that, right? It's just that when you use it all the time, it feels like flat, right? It's like instead of there being ups and downs in the pacing, it just feels like it's the same pacing throughout, and therefore, it gets a little dull. To me, anyway. That's just my opinion. However, might not be the same for everybody. Again, I'm just uncultured because I don't read actual books all that much. So, yeah, that's just me though. Yeah, anything else? I think that's it. Otherwise, the writing is actually very good. I would say objectively, technically speaking, it's actually very good. I would say the developer actually has a lot of experience writing. There might be a few typos here and there, but they're like typical. That happens to everybody. Everybody, I feel like even the greatest writers always make typos, like small things, But otherwise, objectively speaking, the writing is good. But again, it just doesn't really. It's not the type of writing style that I resonate the most with. I would say. I think that's my general conclusion. I would say. Anything else? Yeah, I mean, I like the New Game Plus thing. I was surprised actually. I was surprised there was a New Game Plus. I was actually ready to like end the game or end my playthrough. As it turns out, you look through the notes and it's oh, actually, there's a little bit more. So I was kind of like, that was kind of cool actually. It's funny how you like you hide something like that, and the player has to actually be like curious, like me, to actually find something like that. I feel like a lot of people might miss that actually. But yeah, it's actually kind of cool that you actually get like a happy ending. Well, saying happy, but true ending. Where Rosette, the main character, actually escapes. And takes control of her life. Kind of a satisfying conclusion. I would say actually, like emotionally speaking, anyway, it is satisfying to see her like, actually, get out of her circumstances. I think that's. Because what it works, it's the actual just main idea of the story was the fact that she's had a hard life and everything, and she can't like speak up, for herself, and like she keeps getting like basically bullied, by her peers, but also by life, So it works that at the end, she as mentioned in the author's notes, it's kind of like the player and continuing to play, she herself is also stubborn, and therefore, that kind of like fits, in terms of the theming. So as a player, you don't give up, and therefore she herself doesn't give up, and she gets her, I guess, happy ending in a way. But yeah, I feel like I had a lot to say about this game, but overall, I think it's pretty good, But there you go. I guess that was it for It Gets So Lonely here. Pretty interesting story. I guess, if you're on YouTube, you didn't know, I stream these games live on Twitch, so check me out over there if you're interested. I also have other playthroughs on the channel, so you can look for those if you want. Another game by the developer that I actually did like as well was Girlfriend Simulator. It has a funny name to it, but actually it's kind of like a psychological horror type visual novel as well. So, check that out too if you're interested. But yeah, Thanks for watching. Until next time, see you then.